welcome to Turn the Page, the official podcast of the Syosset Public Library.
Hi, everybody. This is Evelyn Hershkowitz, Reader Services Librarian at the Syosset Public Library on the Turn the Page podcast. And today we have with us Sarah Adler. Sarah has written 4 books. Is that correct? This is the 4th one we're going to be discussing?
Yes.
Okay. It's called Wild Goose Chase. And let me just tell you a little bit about Sarah. She's a U.S. Today best-selling author. She writes romantic comedies about lovable weirdos finding their happily ever after. She lives in Maryland with her husband, daughter, and very mischievous cat. When not working, you can find her attempting to course correct an ill-advised late afternoon nap with an equally ill-advised late afternoon coffee, as she is incapable of ever learning a lesson. Very cute, very fun, just like your book. Thank you so much for being here. So Goose Chase comes out on July 28th.
Yes.
Have you been doing other interviews for the book so far?
I think you're my second,
Oh,
actually.
cool.
It's been much of a shorter lead time this time around. And yeah, I think you're only my second. So if
Okay.
I don't know what I'm talking about, that's why.
I'm sure you will. Somebody that wrote about antique dealers and crazy, crazy things. I will let you tell everybody what this book is about, please.
So Wild Goose Chase is about a stuck in his ways antique dealer who winds up with a possibly illegal taxidermy goose in his possession. And he's trying desperately to find a way to get it off his hands without implicating himself in having it, when his temporary coworker finds it and decides she's going to altruistically blackmail him. But then they both lose the goose, and both of their reputations are at stake, and they have to basically run around Baltimore trying to find it again, and fall in love in the process.
Absolutely. And it's funny and they have a fun relationship and I really enjoyed it. The
I'm so
great
glad. I
rom-com.
love I love when people find my books a good time, because I have
Yes.
a good time writing them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good time. How did you come up with this? What did you know about how do you pronounce that? Migratory
Oh, the Migratory Bird
Bird
Treaty Act of
Treaty Act of
1918.
1918. Honestly, are you a bird lover? I mean, how did you come up with this? Do you do bird watching?
I mean, I do birdwatch very casually. It's one of those things where you hit your 30s and just suddenly you have the Merlin app on your phone and you're like, I guess I'm into this now. But a few years ago, I was playing around with a different idea that involved a taxidermy eagle. And one of my critique partners, Amber Roberts, she just knows a lot of things about a lot of things. She's lived an interesting life. And so she was like, isn't that illegal? And I was like, is it? And I started going down this rabbit hole about bird law and found out about the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918. And I just thought it was really fascinating. There's a lot of really interesting things about it. And I had to shelve that project, but it was always kind of in the back of my mind, the things I'd learned. And so when I was coming up with this idea and I was talking to my husband over lunch one day trying to figure out what this book was going to be, I said I want it to be in an antique store. And I was like, maybe they have an item they're not supposed to have and they lose it. And he said, oh, and they go on a wild goose chase. And I said, haha, that's funny. What if it's a goose figurine? And then I remembered the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918 and went, what if it's an actual goose? And I started putting it together and suddenly I had my book. So it was kind of kismet that I learned about this a couple years ago and finally was able to bring it back around in a project that actually has the same characters. Cal and Annie come from that original project. So it was a real nice full circle moment for me of, nothing you create is ever a waste.
But were Cal and Annie in another book or just a book that wasn't published?
Just the project that wasn't published, the one with the
Okay.
taxidermy eagle.
Okay. Well, it's just a crazy idea.
I'm good at those.
Yeah, no, the concept is wild. And your husband came up with the title.
He's the title whisperer. This is I think the second title of mine he's come up with.
Oh, wow.
He came up with Mrs. Nash's Ashes as well. So we joke that if any of my friends ever need title help, we pitch it to him and see what he comes up with.
Wow, that's pretty good. What does he do for a living?
He's a database manager for a parks organization.
It has nothing to do with
No, but because
literature or
of
writing or
no, but because of me, he's become a romance reader as well. So
oh,
he understands the genre really well and marketing and all of that. So he's kind of my unofficial publicist. He's always Googling my name and telling me what's going on.
oh, that's great. So what did you do before you became a full-time? Are you a full-time author? First of all, I didn't even ask you that.
I am a full-time author. Right before I was a stay-at-home mom, I started writing right after my daughter was born, and I wound up leaving my job. I used to be a assistant to a department chair at a university, but right before I had my daughter, so I was a full-time university employee, part-time history grad student. I finished my master's in history in May 2018, had my daughter in June 2018, left my job in November 2018. So it was a real rapid shift for me of what I was doing and who I was. So I have a master's in history that I've never been able to use in an official capacity, but I like to think it sneaks its way into my books through some of the historical research aspects.
So where's that romantic comedy about historical fiction?
I mean, I would love to do a full historical book, but it's a tough sell. Every time I bring it up, my agent's like, maybe one day, but not yet.
Oh, okay, okay. So the first book that you wrote was which one?
Mrs. Nash's Ashes.
And did you have trouble getting that one published, or was it pretty immediate?
Well, so technically there were two projects before that didn't get me an agent. So I have two shelved projects that will never see the light of day. So Mrs. Nash's Ashes was technically the third manuscript I wrote,
Okay.
just the first book I published. And by that point, I'd racked up something like 200 rejections.
Oh, wow.
So I was very intent on proving myself at that point and that this was something I could do professionally. So it actually was kind of a whirlwind unicorn experience where instead of a whole bunch of rejections, I got an offer from an agent within a week. And then I got 5 more offers and got to choose between 6 agents, which was, amazing. And then when we did a quick round of revisions with my agent and then sent it out to editors within a week, we had a preempt attempt, and then we had a lot more interest, so we went to auction. And so we wound up with 6 editors interested. So I got to choose which editor and in which imprint to go with. So it was really one of those best case scenarios after like 2 years of trudging through. And my imposter syndrome was through the roof. I was like, someone's gonna find out at some point that I don't deserve this, and they're gonna take it all away. And I still feel that way sometimes. So
No, that's amazing. Congratulations on that. That's
thank you.
fabulous. That is, and you really were determined. After 200 rejections, you just kept going. Good for you. That's
Yeah, it was.
amazing.
My husband calls Mrs. Nash's Ashes my revenge book. The like, oh, you want voice? I'll give you voice. Like, you want plot? Here's the plot. I basically just took everything I learned over those rejections and from those 2 other manuscripts and did it right, and did it by being purely myself instead of thinking about what was expected of me. I just kind of leaned into what I wanted to do and what felt right and found success. And I think that's the secret, is just be yourself.
That's what your character's like also in the book.
Hmm.
Do they take after anybody? Are they anybody you know?
I mean, every character has a little bit of me in it. I think they almost have to in order for me to write them. Um, but they're very much just from my imagination. There's no one really. I try not to draw from real people because that's kind of weird.
Mhm.
Um, I don't like doing that. Sometimes my minor characters, just like little ones that pop in and out, are based on people I've met in my life, but no one's a one-to-one because that
Oh,
would just
okay.
be too awkward if they figured it out.
Are there any characters that are in the books that go from one book to another, or they're all standalones with?
They're all standalones. I try to put in little Easter eggs where I just kind of reference something from the previous books in all of my books so that if you've read the other ones, you get a little moment of like, huh, like I recognize that. But if you haven't, it doesn't affect your
Oh, okay.
enjoyment at all. But I will say it's getting harder and harder with more and more books of trying to fit those in of little asides. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to maintain that, but it's fun
Mhm.
when I get to.
Sure, of course. What's your writing process like?
It changes every book. It's very frustrating for me. I would like to be able to kind of know exactly what to expect from myself at this point, but I kind of have to see what I'm going through, what my family needs from me, what my overall life is like, to kind of figure that out. And then also just each book. I mean, Wild Goose Chase came really easily to me. It was the fastest book I've ever written, and it just kind of spilled out. And then I trudged through another manuscript at the beginning of this year, and it was really rough, and I wasn't feeling it, and I was very burnt out, and I was trying to just get through it to move on and revise it later. And when it came time to revise it, I realized, nope, this isn't even worth the time it will take. We got to start over. So sometimes I've learned trying to force it and do the process as it's worked before can actually be counterproductive. So um, it's yeah, I mean, my publisher requires at this point sort of an outline from me, so I've become someone who outlines
Okay.
when I wasn't before. But other than that, things really are kind of different depending on the project and what is required of me as far as time, deadlines and where I am mentally. And it's just kind of going with the flow is something I've really had to learn as somebody who loves to be in control and know what's happening. Um, I think publishing has made me a lot more laid back.
Oh, wow. Do you have a book that you're working on now?
I'm currently trying to get together with my agent and editor to kind of plan what we're going to do
Mhm.
because what we thought was book five is not going to be published. And then the next idea we came up with, we also agreed wasn't quite it. We are now kind of in the brainstorming phase again. I have some things I'd like to write. I'm waiting on feedback for that. But yeah, we're kind of just it's all up in the air. I mean,
Okay.
it's under contract, so it will
Okay.
something will come out eventually, but it's looking more like 2028 instead of 2027 now.
Okay. That's good. Give yourself a little break. And are you going on a tour for this book?
I am. This will be my biggest tour so far.
Oh, great.
I'm going to be doing my launch event here in my hometown of Frederick. And then the next night I'll be in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, good.
Then the next night I'll be in Plainville, Massachusetts, right above Providence. Then the next week I'll be in Baltimore and Indianapolis.
Wow.
So it's going to be a lot of traveling, and I'm pretty excited to get to go meet some readers.
Are you driving or flying to all these places?
We're going to take the train for the
Oh,
first part, driving to Baltimore because I'm pretty close,
right.
and then flying to Indianapolis.
Oh, okay. That's good. What's in Indianapolis? A bookstore, or is there a conference or something going on?
Yeah, so right below Indianapolis proper in Franklin, Indiana, is actually a bookstore called Wild Geese Bookshop.
Oh, wow.
And so my publisher agreed that it was too thematically relevant to not
Yeah.
go there.
Well,
So
that's great.
we're going to do a big event and a porch goose party, they're calling it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to go out there,
Wow.
and I'm going to try Culver's for the first time. I'm going to bring my lactate and eat a lot of custard and cheese curds.
Good luck. Someone else who also suffers from that. Good luck.
Yeah,
I hope it goes well.
thank you. I
That's
will
so funny.
suffer for it. I'm willing to do so.
I would also. Nothing like I've never had it, so I'm sure it's delicious, but I
Yeah, I
haven't had that.
asked online if it was worth going to, and thousands of people started responding. I was not expecting that. So apparently it's a big favorite out there.
Wow, that's great. Okay. I think that's Really wonderful. Enjoy that. So, which
Thanks.
store are you going to in Brooklyn? Books or Magic or
The Ripped Bodice.
oh, the Rip Bodice one?
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, they're in Brooklyn also.
Yes, they're in. Trying to remember what part. Might be Park Slope.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a romance bookstore.
Yes, they were one of the first in the country over on the West Coast,
Hmm.
and they opened their Brooklyn location a couple years ago. It's a really beautiful store, and they have really great events. I got to I got to be part of an event last year there, so I'm really glad to go back.
Very
Um,
nice.
Especially since I have, family ties to New York. It's nice. It's always nice to kind of go back there and
Yeah. I
um,
haven't been. I would really like to check it out. Now, I have a question. I guess, did you write the questions for the book, for the book club?
I did,
Okay, so
yes.
your last question was, which date night would you choose? So I'm going to ask it to you, and you tell me what you think. Being stuck in a single room of a suburban mansion, seeing a Mother Goose themed burlesque show, or a photographer's model in a warehouse full of mannequins. Now, for those of you who haven't read the book yet, these are really funny scenarios that the characters end up in. So I want to know which one you would like to choose.
I mean,
You wrote
I don't see
that.
I don't see why I can't do all three.
Oh, absolutely.
We can start with the burlesque show and then
Okay.
go to the mannequin warehouse for a photo shoot and then finish up in the bedroom for sleep.
Crazy. They were just insanely crazy, but fun, just so much fun. It's really, when you say rom-com, this is the calm part of it was so funny. It really
I'm
was. Are
so
your
glad.
other books funny? Like, I'm sorry, I haven't read the others, but are they as funny as this?
I mean, I think so.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. I've always been really inspired by sort of 70s and 80s sitcoms, the
Okay.
ability to mix the serious and the funny in the same breath,
Hmm.
basically. Like WKRP in Cincinnati and
Three's
Night
Company.
Court. I didn't watch a lot of Three's Company.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a lot of Night Court, WKRP in Cincinnati, MASH,
Hmm.
Barney Miller.
Hmm.
But I just really love the idea that you can tackle a serious subject and also have some of the funniest jokes like shoved in there.
Right.
Because that's what life's like. It's funny and sad and it's heavy and light and it's just a mixture and I love being able to put that into books.
Well, you did a great job on this one. Let me tell you,
Thank
it's really funny. I'm definitely going to be recommending this book to plenty of our patrons.
you. Amazing. I love to hear that.
Yeah, and the book is available. The print book isn't here yet because it doesn't come out till July 28th, but it will be. And it's also going to be available on Libby.
Awesome.
And who are
And the
yours?
audio?
The audio and the ebook, they'll both be available on Libby. Hmm.
The audiobook is going to be amazing.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
so I actually got three narrators this time. Usually I just have Mara Wilson, who is best known for when she was a child actress playing Matilda.
I
She does
remember her.
audiobooks now. Yeah, and
Okay.
she's wonderful. So this time she's joined by Dan Bittner and Therese Plummer. And
Yeah.
so it's a whole ensemble and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really
Who's the
excited to hear it.
third? Who's the third one?
Therese Plummer.
Yeah, but what character is she doing?
Oh, she's doing all the historical parts.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
so
There's
the
the
B-plot.
other timeline.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, was that a real person or no?
Uh,
Based on
Aura.
somebody?
Um, Aura is based on a lot of women who were starting to become interested in ornithology around that time period. Um, it was kind of a weird transition moment in natural history spaces where they were still considering themselves naturalists, weren't really calling themselves ornithologists yet. There is a lot of really interesting history there about women becoming sort of at the forefront of bird conservation as a movement and the switch from hunting to bird watching as a way to preserve birds because many species were either hunted to extinction at that point or very close to it because feathers were such a popular women's fashion item at the time that birds were just literally being obliterated for fashion. And so women were really at the forefront of that, both as naturalists and as sort of society ladies who would have parties and peer pressure their friends into signing promises that they would no longer wear feathers.
Oh, wow.
And they were starting Audubon chapters and, you know, especially women's colleges were starting to become activist places. So she was kind of based on all of those women in that space at that time who were contributing to saving birds and were finding birds interesting and advocating for people to start studying them in nature versus killing them to study them.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. So what was your research like in this?
Um, because I have a background in history, I honestly try to do as little research as possible because I know myself and I will become very bogged down in detail. Um, so there was a point a long time ago when I was working on this idea originally, when I actually reached out to the Smithsonian to get a map of the floor plan of Smithsonian Castle during that time period. And then I realized, no, 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 that's getting into too much nitty gritty. So I did a lot of research into sort of the women that were working with birds as, you know, as scientists during that time and what was kind of the standards. But otherwise, I tried not to delve too deeply at that point. Since then, I've actually done a lot of research just kind of for fun.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
a very good nonfiction book came out in March called The Feather Wars by James H. McCommons that talks about the history of bird conservation, and it covers all of this stuff of, you know, the hunting, the market hunting, the scientific study, the women, and just everything leading up to the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918, and then Teddy Roosevelt and conservation efforts. And that was a really wonderful read. I highly recommend it. And I got to actually see James speak at an event nearby.
Mhm.
Thankfully, I found out about the book right before he came.
Oh, good.
Um, and we're going to actually be doing a giveaway together at some point, his book and my book,
Oh,
because
wow.
they're, you know, unlikely companions, but they are
Hmm.
companions, which I think is fun. I like that I kind of was able to hide some veggies in the cupcake, if you will, and get people to learn about this important thing
Hmm.
while reading an enjoyable story.
Right. I knew nothing about it.
Most people wouldn't.
Yeah,
You
no,
wouldn't
it's
know.
not something one you learn in school or in
Hmm.
library school for that matter. We never delved into that subject at all. Another question for you is, do you read your reviews?
No, I try very hard not to. Occasionally, I
Right.
stumble upon one by accident. Readers sometimes on social media will tag me in, which is always fine if it's nice. Occasionally, it's not, especially readers from other countries sometimes
Oh,
don't know the etiquette around it. So I'll have to translate the review just to find out it's mean, which is not not my
oh,
favorite. Um, but otherwise, I've gotten to the point in my career where I know better, because I'm the type of person that I can read 100 really lovely things and then one mean thing, and that's the one that's going to stick with me. So, my husband generally keeps up with them and reports back on trends. He'll tell me if someone was really nice, like he'll read me 5-star reviews that are really lovely.
mhm.
He also sometimes will tell me about the really mean ones if they're funny.
Right.
So if it's a 1-star and someone was mean, but they were funny about it, he'll tell me. But mostly I let him kind of decide what I need to know and what I don't, because reviews are for readers. So it's not going to change anything that I'm doing with my writing. It's not, you can't write to reviews or else, you know, you get such conflicting feedback. One will say this is underwritten, the next one will say it's overwritten.
Right, right, right.
You
Well,
can't make everyone happy. So there's really kind of no point for authors to be reading them. It's really for other readers.
well, Library Journal said that Adler writes another marvelously quirky and delightful romance. So that's very nice. That's a nice
Yes.
review. You saw that
Library
one.
Journal has always been lovely to me.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm glad to see that because that's a nice review to get from Library Journal.
Yeah, I've gotten two 2 stars from them in the past, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the librarians have always been such wonderful supporters of my work, and I've always been so grateful to find out how many copies libraries have stocked and that they're
Hmm.
recommending them to patrons. Yeah, I mean, as a book person, I love libraries and librarians anyway, but as an author, I really am grateful for
Thank
all the
you.
work you do.
Thank you. Well, we're grateful for the great authors that can keep us laughing in these times. So, and
Yep.
romance. I love romance. I love comedy. Yours is a perfect one. It really is. It's very, very, very clever.
I appreciate that. And I mean, I definitely think romance and comedy are important, especially when times are hard and,
Hmm.
you've got to, again, have that kind of lightness along with the
Right.
heaviness or
Absolutely.
it's just not doable.
Right. Because my next book I have to read is for my book discussion, and it's historical fiction. It's going to be a little heavier than this. So it was nice to read this nice, light romance. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Who are some of your favorite authors?
Some of my favorites, Sarah Hogel, whose most famous book is You Deserve Each Other. That was a real key book for me as I got serious about writing rom-coms. Um, I'm a big fan of Tessa Dare in the
Hmm.
historical romance space. I find her books really fun. Um, I love Hilary Leichter in the literary space. I find her book Temporary brilliant. Immortals, I find very
Hmm.
entertaining. A Gentleman in Moscow is one of my favorites of all
Right.
time. Um, and um, trying to think of one more because I could probably go on forever. Oh, Jennifer Cruzy. She's one of my biggest influences for sure. She was a big rom-com writer in the 90s and early
Hmm.
2000s. Um, and I think she's amazing.
So did you always want to be an author?
When I was little, I really enjoyed writing and illustrating books and was always writing and illustrating and having fun with it. But then as I got older, I became kind of too serious for my own good and started thinking about serious academic work and kind of fell into a pit of only writing serious history scholarship for a long time there. And then when I got out of grad school and realized I wasn't going to go on to the PhD as I'd considered doing, I got back into fiction, and that was the first time since I was a little kid that I even considered it as an option.
Hmm.
And I think up until I sold the book, I really didn't realize it was an option still. Um, Maybe it's not. Maybe maybe I'm on borrowed time here.
No, I think
But
you're doing well.
it's kind of like, little kids wanting to be an NBA star. It's like,
Hmm.
great, but what are the chances? It's not a realistic goal. That's how I felt about becoming an author of like, it's a nice dream, but it was never like a real intention. And then I was like, oh, wait, and now it's my job. And I'm so lucky.
Yeah, it's it's wonderful. Really, really wonderful. Okay, so I wish you a lot of luck on your book tour,
Thank you.
and I will be definitely recommending these books. And I'm going to go
Thank you.
back and read some of your others because
Oh, I hope you enjoy them.
yeah, this was fun. I really enjoyed this. So I'd like to go back and read. I'm going to start with Mrs. Nash's Ashes. So,
Yes, I think you'll like it. If you liked, I think this one is so Wild Goose Chase is definitely a combination kind of all of them,
oh, okay.
but I do think it's most closely related to Mrs. Nash's Ashes as far as feel.
Okay, I'm going to give it a try. So I thank you, Sarah, so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you. It was great to
Okay,
talk.
you too. I'm going to close this chapter of Turn the Page.
It's time to close this chapter of Turn the Page. Join us for the next episode.